Hello, hello. So today, how would you like to learn how to reclaim your personal power? That's what we're going to talk about today in the video. It's based on a blog post I wrote for Aspire magazine as a contributing author. And the blog post title was 8 Ways to Reclaim Your Personal Power. And what we're going to do is we are going to talk about some ways that we sabotage our personal power, and we may not even be aware we're doing it. But also, I'm going to bring you back to 8 ways that you can reclaim your personal power and stand in your power and stand in your truth. So let's jump in. I'm Karen of Shier Coaching, and I appreciate you being here today. So let's talk personal power. I can think of many times in my life where I inadvertently gave my personal power away, and I stepped into the role of victim, or I stepped into the role of rescuer. And I probably even stepped into the role of persecutor. And when I look back at those times with curiosity, these times didn't happen intentionally. They happened by default. I let them happen. I wasn't aware I was giving my power away to another person or to an institution or to a situation. Maybe I was giving my personal power away to the job I was at, or to a manager, or to a boss, or to a parent, or to another person. I let life happen to me instead of choosing to direct my life in a positive and empowering way in those moments. And we all do this. I let myself forget my own beliefs and desires, and I didn't stand in my truth. I didn't stand up for myself, perhaps. In those times, I was acting and choosing my responses and reactions from various states of lack, instead of from like an abundant sense of worthiness, awareness, of enoughness. I was making decisions, about things because I was feeling overwhelmed, or I was feeling angry, or I was feeling some other lower level emotion. And I was kind of letting life happen to me, or so I thought. I was just letting it roll instead of taking control of the situation. So first of all, I want to talk about what personal power is from my perspective, and you might have some different perspectives, but personal power, I feel, is generated from within us. It's something we own. It's something we hone. It's our connection with our source and an origin of strength and energy inside of us that encompasses our true inner qualities. It encompasses our beliefs, our values, our experiences, our skills, our knowledge. I see it as our self-confidence and our inner strength, our determination, our resilience. Those are the words that I feel when I'm in my standing in my personal power. Those are the strengths for me. It's our honesty, our compassion, our assertiveness. It's how we treat ourselves and others. Our personal power represents the truth of who we are and the fullness of our human spirit. So let's tackle the rest of this video with that in mind, that understanding of personal power. So I want to start out with some ways that we sabotage our personal power. And this comes into our awareness in different ways. So see if any of these resonate with you. The first one is when we ignore our personal desires, our beliefs, and our truth. We're sabotaging our personal power. The second one is act or react from any position or lower level emotion of lack, which I just kind of mentioned a moment ago. When I was making decisions, when I was feeling, in a state of lack, in some state of lack, those were sabotaging my personal power, and I didn't even realize it at the time. The third one is when we find ourselves focused on fear or guilt or overwhelm about the past, the present, or the future. Anytime that we are feeling fear or guilt or overwhelm, we're sabotaging our personal power. I'm guessing that you can probably relate to that one for sure. Then number 4 is when we feel the need to justify or rationalize the way we feel, the thoughts we think, the actions we take, and the desires we have. We are stepping on our personal power. We don't need to justify our feelings. We don't need to justify the way we think, the actions we take. Of course, unless they're harmful to someone else. But we often, I think as women especially, always feel this need to justify. And when we do that, we're stepping in our personal power. We're giving our personal power away. The fifth one I have is when we allow feelings of powerlessness or stuckness to control our actions or inactions. I was, and you may have heard this story, but I allowed myself to be stuck in a job that I had, and I stayed for way too long. And I was kind of paralyzed to inaction. I wasn't taking the action. I was kind of blaming my circumstance on outside other things. And had to work through all those fears. I had to work through the fears of leaving. I had to work through my anger. I had to work through so many things. But I allowed myself these feelings of powerlessness. And in essence, I gave away my power to whatever it is I thought was controlling me, when really all I had to do was choose a different path. The sixth one is we give our power over to other people or situations, and we play the blame game. I'm in this situation because of that person. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for this circumstance. Things like that. That's when you hear those little whispers in your head or feel those feelings, know that you're giving away your power to that person or that situation or that circumstance. Number 7, when we refuse to trust our intuition and instead we let our inner critic or ego call the shots. If you haven't learned how to soothe your inner critic, if you haven't learned that the inner critic is always trying to keep you safely stuck where you are, and you're listening to your inner critic, or you're constantly trying to logic yourself through a situation versus feeling what's in your heart, you're giving your power away. You really need to go with your intuition, trust your intuition, and learn how to make your intuition stronger by soothing that little inner critic on the other side. The 8th one I have on my list is when we fail to allow self-love, self-compassion, and kindness. When we fall into that path of self-criticism, or, just those little insidious thoughts that come up that we believe is our truth, we're giving away our power. When we refuse to accept or allow in help or compassion from others, there's always people around us that want to help. And sometimes when we're stuck in our stuff, we just have a hard time accepting help from anyone. We have a hard time accepting advice or, helpful ways. And so refusing to accept keeps us kind of stuck in our stuff, keeps us powerless to the situation. I was a do-it-myselfer for a long time and had to learn that it's okay to accept help. I didn't have to do everything on my own. And when I came to that realization and made some changes, then I really stepped into my power. I allowed people to help. And the final one that I have is when you feel bad in any situation, lack never feels good. When you're in lack, you're giving away your power to someone or something else. And when we give away our power, we're out of alignment with the wholeness of who we are. We step into the drama triangle, and it becomes easier to fall into a victim consciousness and a sense of powerlessness or stuckness with no way to get out. And that's our perception when we're stuck in that victim consciousness. We can't see the options that surround us. We may not even be able to discern whether the beliefs and the imprints we acquired are really the truth of the person we have become now. And the world can seem as though it's against us and the future seems dim. So I wonder if any of these items resonate with you. Have you felt these at one time or another? Are you currently feeling these things? Well, I don't want you to despair, because there are ways that we can stop the madness and we can reclaim our personal power. I'm going to give you 8 important keys to stepping back into the wholeness of who you are and reclaiming the fullness of your human spirit. So perhaps you might want to grab a piece of paper and take a few notes, and let's go through these right now. So the first key to reclaiming our personal power is awareness. Notice what you're noticing. Pay attention to the thoughts you're thinking, the words you're saying, the emotions that you're feeling. Are the beliefs imposed on you through your life experiences the truth for you now? If not, change them. Replace those negative self-talk with positive affirmation. And just, I always like to pull this out too, is don't worry about the emotions you're feeling. Society likes to tell us that certain emotions are bad, and they're not. If you're feeling angry, if you're feeling stuck, just be aware and notice it, and notice what you're noticing. It's just your body's way of trying to bring this to your awareness. So just get curious about it. Where did that come from? And try to resolve it from there. Replace the negative self-talk. Number 2, tune into your mind, body, and soul. Our body is a beautiful and powerful communication device. It's an energy container that receives and holds and emits energy in every moment. When you don't feel good, you aren't standing in the full truth of who you are, or you're following the wrong path. Your mind, your body, your soul will whisper it to you. Your body will let you know that in the form of aches or pains if we ignore these long enough. And it can progress into various states of disease. That actually happened to me. I was in a career path previously that was not my calling, was not good for me. And, I tried to go it alone. I was that soldier, and, I was a single mom, and I was just trying to do it all. And I was trying to be all for everybody else, but I wasn't being all for me. And what happened was that, I'd had these little aches and pains that started, and over a period of years, these became some pretty serious disease states that finally the dial got turned up so high, I didn't have any choice but to listen and take some action. And I did. And now life is so much better. But when you start having some of these things, be aware of that. Tune into your body. Your body's trying to tell you that something's wrong and that you're not on the right path. And take some action. Another way is your mind might seem restless or unsettled or irritable, and the inner critic voice inside will turn up the volume. You'll start, it's like she starts shouting at you. You might feel disconnected from your spirit, your soul, your heart connection. Notice these things and make immediate changes to alleviate whatever is happening. And that's something that others can help you with. I can help you with. Number 3 is recognize your personal power. Acknowledge that you possess personal power. You own it. Own your personal power. Accept yourself, flaws and all. Be intentional in your thoughts and your actions. Realize that you are an amazing human, put on this earth for great things. And the world is a much better place with you in it. You're worthy. You have value. You are enough. You matter. Your well-being is worth your attention and your investment. And, invest in your well-being, and invest in yourself, and make yourself, schedule time for yourself, schedule self-care for yourself, and make sure that you don't, push that aside when the time comes. Make sure that you do it on a daily basis, a few times a week. Recognize your personal power and take action. Number 4, ask for help when you need it. You don't need to have all the answers. That's something that took me a long time to learn, because I was just wired to think that I had to take care of myself and to do everything myself and make sure everybody else was all set. And it just ended up in the health issues that I mentioned to you. If you don't know something, just say so. If you need help, ask for it. Powerful women seek assistance and feedback from others and allow the resources in. This powerful move also increases your credibility and respect, and it leads to a higher personal power. When I was in the corporate world, if I didn't know how to do something, and someone was coming for me for advice, I would just say, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but let me get it and I'll get back to you. That just built so much credibility, so much personal power. I didn't pretend I knew, because people will see through you really quickly. But you know what? If you don't know, build your credibility. Say, you know what, I don't know right now, but let's figure it out together. Or let me get that answer and I'll get back to you. That'll go so much further in building your credibility with other people. It's just amazing. So number 5, set personal boundaries and stand in your truth. Don't allow others to abuse you, misuse, or steal your personal power from you. Remember that when it comes to boundaries, even a little no is a no. Always stand in the truth of who you are and what you need. Respecting your personal boundaries feeds your personal powers. You know, even when it comes to family things, let's say there's a family event you really don't want to go to, or a friend is having an event that you don't want to go to. Just say, you know what, I can't go. That doesn't work for me right now, or the timing doesn't work for me right now. But thanks for the invite, and I'll catch you next time. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. Just say no, and follow your heart. If it's a little no on anything, that's a big no. Number 6, I want you to empower yourself and others. Lead with integrity, with kindness, with compassion and love. Realize that each woman is on her own path, and it's not your responsibility to take on her stuff. Forgive yourself and others. Stay out of the drama triangle. If you feel like a victim, shift. If you feel like you need to rescue, pivot. If you're playing a persecutor, just back off. Empower yourself and others. And if you ever want to go deeper into that, it's really fascinating when you start learning more about the roles you play in the drama triangle and out of the drama triangle. Number 7, focus on grounding and alignment. This might seem difficult in a society that rewards, nonstop action and commitments, the doer in us, the work mentality. But fitting in quiet time daily allows your creativity to flourish and solutions to present themselves. Grounding and aligning enables you to build connection with source and strengthen your personal power. When you start to feel that sense of overwhelm, you know that you need to take a break, walk away from whatever it is you're doing. Often when you sleep on it, I used to give the managers, when I was in the corporate world, I'd advise a lot of our managers and things, and they'd come to me all wound up and wanting to do something, or wanting to discipline an employee, or wanting to make some kind of an action. And we'd talk through it, and I'd say, now you need to sleep on it. And I want you to think about that tomorrow. And generally what would happen is their energy would dissipate, and they wouldn't be quite so wound up about whatever that situation was. And what that allowed them to do is be better leaders. It allowed them to go back to and lead their life and their employees in a much better way. So always take those pauses. If you're really upset and wound up about something, ask for the help, ask the universe, ask your source, help me through this, bring me a solution. What could I do? Wouldn't it be great if I could have a solution to this? Sleep on it and see what drops into your psyche the next day. Generally, that solution will be waiting for you, and that you'll be able to see more clearly when you've put your little bit of space and time between you and whatever was upsetting you. And finally, the last tip that I have is face your fears. Living in fear is not only fruitless, it robs you of your personal power. It takes your personal power right away. We all have fears at one time or another, but learning to process and release the fear-based low vibrational energy also rebuilds higher vibrational personal power. Face your fears. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's in that uncomfortable spot where we grow, where we develop, where we learn, and where we step into our power. So, there's 2 books that I'll share with you that I've enjoyed reading on this topic. And the first one is called Living with Joy, Keys to Personal Power and Spiritual Transformation. It's an Oren book by Sanaya Roman. And then the second book is called Activate Your Inner Power, a book of guidance messages by Lee Miltier. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope that it gave you some insights on, I'm feeling this way. Maybe I'm not standing in my personal power, but I've got the tools now that I know how to reclaim my personal power and stop the madness. I look forward to what unfolds for the powerful, amazing woman that you are. I'd love to hear your feedback. Please share this video, comment, subscribe. It helps get the teachings out to more people in YouTube. And so I wish you an empowered and amazing day, my friend. And feel free to drop me a line. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. See you later.